Hey guys, it's Corinne here from It's a Corinne, and for today's tutorial we will be making this double pocket fanny pack, which is super cute and is interchangeable, guys, which means that you only have to make one belt or use a belt you already own. Because of these two nifty little sleeves in the back, you can put this onto practically any belt and not have to make a belt or not have to make more than one belt. So in the future, if you would like to make a different color or make a different design, and spoiler alert, I plan on making more designs in the future for this, you don't have to worry about the belt. You just make the pouch, which is a total time saver and cost saver. Yay! Now, before we begin this tutorial, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the It's a Corinne YouTube channel so that you get alerts when I make new videos just like this. And if you would like to see step-by-step instructions with pictures and snag the free pattern for this zippered fanny pack, be sure to visit my blog at itsocorinne.com. Now, the supplies you need for the fanny pack is, of course, fabric. Now, the fanny pack that I will be showing you today, and I just showed you, is made out of canvas, which just means that it is a thicker cotton fabric that you can get at Joann or Hobby Lobby or practically anywhere that sells fabric. And the interior is made out of quilting cotton. Now, if you prefer to not work with canvas, or you just want to work with quilting cotton, or you find the fabric that you love in quilting cotton, that is no big, because this one, which is also super cute and has the exact same pouches on the back, or strap holders in the back, is made 100% out of quilting cotton. So you can make it out of canvas or quilting cotton. Now, a word of caution: if you are using canvas, I don't suggest using canvas on the interior as well, just the exterior, just because of a bulk, unless you have an industrial machine, which most people do not. I would stick with just doing the canvas on the outside and doing the quilting cotton for the contrasting interior pieces. Now, next on the list is interfacing. You don't need very much. You just need it for the strap holders on the back. So this, you only need 2 pieces of this size, so you don't need very much of it. Next on the list is Fusible Fleece. You can use traditional batting for this project. I just prefer Fusible Fleece because once you iron it on, it's fused to the project and you don't have to worry about it shifting during construction. Then you are going to need some clips or pins, which I use both interchangeably, so it is personal preference what you use, if you use clips or pins, but you do need something to hold all your layers together. And then you are going to need a zipper foot. I prefer using this adjustable zipper foot, but you can just use whatever zipper foot you feel comfortable with or came with your machine. And then you are going to need coordinating thread for your machine. Obviously I have purple for the actual fanny pack, and then I'm also using black to make the belt, so that way you can't see our stitches on the belts. And then you are going to need 2 9-inch zippers, and as you can tell, this is not 9 inches, it's 22 inches, which is grossly too big. But this was the only size that I could find in this color. So I will show you how to cut it down later on in the video. But as long as your zippers are 9 inches or more, we could definitely cut them down. So it's not a big deal. And then you are going to need a turning pushy thingy. You're going to need something to push out the seams once you turn your fanny pack, and also the back strap holders. So I like to use this plastic chopstick, but you can use the end of a pencil, or if you have a turning tool that you got from your local craft store, you could totally use that. And then you are going to need a ruler, because like I said, we are going to cut down your zipper. So even if you have a 9-inch zipper, we will still be cutting it down to about 7 inches later on in the video. So you want to make sure you have an accurate ruler handy. And then we are going to need belting. This is 1-inch belting in 60-inch length. This is an optional step if you need to make a belt. If you don't need to make a belt, you already have a belt that you want to use with your fanny pack, then you can totally skip that section. But if you need a belt, you need to get belting. And then you need to get a clasp This is a parachute buckle that I bought, which is super heavy duty. So that is to attach to the belting. And then to make the belt adjustable, you need a tri-glide or some sort of slider. Now, I couldn't find a black tri-glide anywhere that I looked, so I ended up getting these adjustable strap pieces, and I just used it on the other belt I make, and then the belt I'm gonna make today. I just used it like a tri-glide. So if you can't find the traditional tri-glides, you could always use the strap adjusters. So once you have gathered your supplies, we are ready to begin this interchangeable fanny pack. To begin the fanny pack, you need to take the top piece and the bottom piece of the front pocket, and we need to turn them over, and we need to press the fusible fleece to the back. Now, I like to trim up my fusible fleece to not extend all the way to, get stuck, to the seam allowance. And this is super helpful, especially when you're using canvas, because you do not want your seams to be super bulky. So see how I just trimmed it down a little bit. And with fusible fleece, I always like to press from the other side. And I know I have said this before, but you always want to press your fabric and make sure there's no wrinkles before you press fusible interfacing or fusible fleece to the other side. I have run into major issues with that, and if you don't take the creases out, then that crease is going to be there for forever. And you'll always be reminded that you did not press your fabric before you put the interfacing or fusible fleece on. Okay, so I am just rough cutting those. Let me move that out of my way. And we're going to put this on the back. And then what we're going to do is, once this is pressed, we are going to set aside the bottom piece of the pocket. Okay, so we're going to set this aside for right now, because we are going to work with this. Actually, if you have a directional fabric, I feel like this looks, does that look better? Yeah, okay. If you have a directional fabric, you want to make sure that your direction is going this way. And then what we're going to do is flip it so your directional fabric would go this way now, because we're going to start from this side. And what we're going to do is we are going to place the top part of the pocket right side up, and then we're going to take our zipper and place it right side down with the zipper pull on the right hand side. And you're just going to line that up with the top. And then lastly, you're going to take your lining for the top of the pocket, and you're going to place that, I'm moving my zipper, right side down and make a sandwich. Now you want to make sure that the sides line up with each other on either side here. So what we have is the lining, the zipper, which is face down with the zipper pull to the right, and then your top pocket piece right side up. And then we are going to clip this. And then we are going to take that over to the machine. You want to make sure that they're all lined up at the top. Like when you look at it at the top, which I probably need to adjust mine. Yeah, see my zippers falling down. So you want to make sure all those are even. And then using your zipper foot, you want to use a 1/4 seam allowance, 1/4 inch seam allowance here, and pretty much anywhere that we're not top stitching for this pattern, you will be using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. So you just use your zipper foot and sew 1/4 inch in. Once you have sewn your zipper on that side, what you want to do is open it up. You're going to pull your lining and press out. And we're going to press this. Make sure my lining goes up. Okay. We're going to press this down. Okay, and if you don't like the way that your zipper looks, now is the time to change that. because this is going to be a point of no return in a minute. So if you don't like the way your zipper looks, either try to sew it again or seam rip it and then sew it again. Now, as you can tell, this is the top part of the front pocket. So what we need to do is add the bottom part. So we're going to take this piece that we, let me move it into the camera view, that we added the Fusible Fleece to a minute ago, and we're going to lay it down, and we're going to put this entire thing on top of it with the zipper pull to the left. And we want to make sure that the sides are lined up here, and we want to put the zipper at the top here. And then we're going to take the bottom lining of the front pocket, and we're going to place that right on top of here like a sandwich. And that is right side down. So we are going to clip this, and then we're going to just repeat what we just did. Using a 1/4 seam allowance, 1/4 inch seam allowance, we are going to sew this side of the zipper. So that way when it's done, see how you see the zipper? You'll have lining, and when this side is open, you'll have outside. Once you have your zipper sewn on the other side, what we're going to do is we're going to open it up, and we're going to press it down just like we did earlier for the other side. You're going to make sure you pull your lining down. You want to press it really well. And again, if you don't like the way your zipper looks, now is the time to fix this, because we are about to top stitch it, and once it's top stitched, it becomes a no-go zone. Unless you want to start over and seam rip it all, which is not fun. Okay, and what I like to do is just clip around so that way nothing moves, and you want to make sure that you have your lining down and nothing weird is happening on the back side. And what we're going to do is we are going to top stitch right here and right here with a 1/8 inch seam allowance, or pretty much as close as possible without getting onto the zipper. You want to just be as close to this edge as possible, and straight stitch all the way down. After you have top stitched your zipper, it is time to add the lining to the pocket. So what you want to do is grab one of your lining pieces and lay it down with right sides facing up. And then you're going to take your pocket piece and place it right on top with your lining piece right side down. Now, as you can tell, my lining piece matches the front pocket piece, the size-wise, but that's because I trimmed the lining piece after I made this. Now, so you want to, if your pocket is smaller than your lining, to trim up your lining, all 3 pieces of your lining, and your outside piece. You want all of these to be trimmed up to match the front pocket piece. So once you have trimmed all that up, you want to line these up like so, and you want to unzip your zipper to the middle. And the reason for this is because we are about to base stitch this together, and if you have your zipper pull over here, it's going to be stuck on that side. So you want to make sure that you open your zipper before you do this. So you just want to clip it, and then we are going to go to the sewing machine, and we are going to base stitch all the way around this pocket, and pretty much that's just sewing as close as possible to the seam all the way around. After you have base stitched the front pocket to its lining, you just want to set it aside. You do not want to cut the zipper ends right now. Even though they're hanging there all willy-nilly asking to be cut off, don't do it. I like to cut them after final construction just because I want to make sure that we can get at them when we're sewing the seams. I don't like it if you don't catch it and then it's a big mess. So just set this aside, and we can move on to making our zipper tabs for the top compartment zipper. So what you're going to do is get your zipper tabs, and you are going to fold it in half like so. You're going to press very carefully, and then you're going to open this. You're going to push the 2 centers the two sides to the center line that you just made. And then you're gonna fold it back up and you're gonna press again. Okay, we don't need this one right now. Like you can see, we have a little sandwich, super cute. And then you are going to take your zipper, in my case, my super duper long zipper, and you're going to take the side that has the metal stop, and we're going to do that side first because I like to cut from the other side. So we are going to just place that in the center of this. It doesn't have to be super particular because we are going to cut off the sides in a minute. So what you're going to do is you're going to just clip this or pin it, and then we're going to go to the sewing machine and we are going to sew a top stitch right along this edge right here. And you want to go over it a couple of times to reinforce it because it's going to get a lot of wear and tear when you're opening and closing your fanny pack. After you have sewn the tab, you want to trim up the sides, and all you want to do is cut right along the line of the zipper tape and to not cut the tape that's inside. And then once you do that, we can cut the zipper down. All you need to do that is a ruler and an old pair of scissors. And we are going to cut this to 7 inches long. And you want to make sure that you unzip this past the 7 inches. Otherwise, your pull will be on the wrong side and you will have ruined an entire zipper, which I hate to admit I have done before. So what we're going to do is take an old pair of scissors and cut this at 7 inches. Okay, let's see if I got that right. Yeah, that's 7 inches, but it's a little crooked. So I'll have to straighten that up a little bit. Okay. And then we are going to cut the other side to match. Okay. And get rid of our excess pieces. So there is our new 7-inch zipper. And all you need to do is, I like to zip it a little bit more, but you don't want to go crazy because if you go too far, your zipper pull will be off the tape. That would be bad. So you want to go ahead and press your other zipper tab, and we are going to insert this into this zipper tab like so, making sure that your teeth touch because you want it to be close, but you don't want it to be overlapping each other at all. And then you want to take your clips and clip that together. And then just like we did for the other one, we are going to sew a top stitch right here, making sure to go over it a couple of times because you don't want the zipper to come out like from constant use back and forth, because this is going to be the main compartment zipper, so it's going to see a lot of stress. So you want to go across it a couple of times. Once you have finished the other sides tab, all we need to do is trim that up just like we did the other one and just go right along the line of the zipper tape, I should say, and right along the edge. Okay, and there you have it. There is our main compartment zipper with super cute zipper tabs that is just ready to be put to use. So all you need to do is set this aside and we're going to move on to the next thing, which is doing the back strap holders so we can put a belt through. It's the belt loops on the back. So all you want to do is fold over and press the 3.5 inch sides. You want them to kiss, and you want the right sides touching each other. And then we are going to add, let me move some stuff out of the way. We are going to add interfacing to the back of this. And like I did with the Fusible Fleece earlier, I like to trim up my interfacing so it's not all the way to the edge. And then this is the tip. Make sure that you move your remnants that you just cut off. Otherwise, they could stick to your iron, and that is a pain in the rear. So I like to just gonna hit it once on that side so it stays. I'm just gonna press this. And you're really not supposed to use steam when you do interfacing, but my iron has decided that steam is a must on everything, so I just use what I have. Okay, so once you have your interfacing pressed on, you're gonna take some clips and we're gonna clip it together. And what we're gonna do is we are gonna sew along this edge, and then here, and then we're gonna leave a turning hole in the bottom, and then you're gonna finish it out over here, and you don't need to sew this side. So you're gonna sew around 3 sides, but you're gonna leave a turning hole at the bottom. Oops, that's upside down. So once you have it clipped, you are good to go and sew it on the machine. After you've sewn around the back strap holder, all you wanna do is trim up the corners. Take it off, trim up the seams a little bit so there's not so much bulk, but you don't want to go crazy. And then you want to turn it right side out through the turning hole that you left in one side. And then after you do that, you want to press it really well. After you have finished your first strap holder, you need to repeat the process for the second strap holder. And then once you get it all turned out and pressed, you want to press under your turning hole. And then I just have them clipped to hold them right now. And what we are going to do is we are going to take the back outside piece of the fanny pack and we are going to fuse our fusible fleece to it, just like we did earlier to the front. We're going to add the fusible fleece, and then we are going to sew the back strap holders to the back piece. These go here, and what you want to do is position them where they look like they're in the middle. Roughly I put them like 3/4 inches down from the bottom and the top, and then I go about 1 inch from the sides. But that being said, if you've cut down your fronts, your back pieces to match your front pocket, the measurements might be slightly different. So you just want to put them where you feel like they look like they're in the center and spaced out. I feel that that looks pretty good. It would be nice if you could see it. I think that looks pretty good. So all I'm gonna do is pin it at the top. And you do want your turning hole to be at the bottom, so that way we can catch this when we sew it. And we can sew the turning hole closed. So there's the first one, and then here's the second one. And what we are going to do is we are going to sew a top stitch where I have the pins at the top and at the bottom. And you're going to go over it at least twice because you want to make sure that these are super reinforced, because it's going to be, the belt loop's going to be through the back and it's going to be holding all the weight as you wear this. So you want to make sure that you have it super strong so it doesn't pop off while you're wearing it. After you have sewn both of your strap holders onto the back piece, we can move on to the next step. Take your front pocket that we did, and it's super cute. And then you're going to take the zipper that we made right here, and then you're going to place that with the pull to the left. We're going to place that right side down like this, and we're going to put that in the center of your piece, your pocket. So you want to make sure that it's even on both sides. And then we are going to take one of the lining pieces and we're going to place that right side down on top of it like this. And like we did earlier with the zipper, we are going to clip this and we're going to go over to the sewing machine, and with our zipper foot we are going to sew a 1/4 inch seam right along this side that we are clipping right here. After you have sewn your zipper to the front, we are going to sew the zipper to the back. So we're going to do the same thing but with the back. So you're going to lay your back piece facing right side up, and then we are going to take this front pocket with the zipper pull to the right, and we're going to place that in the center. You want to make sure that all your sides are lining up, like your front lines up with your front over here, just like so. And then you want to take your last lining piece and you want to place that right side down. And then just like we did before, we want to clip all of this together. And we have to rearrange mine a little bit, but you want to make sure that everything is at the top and everything is lined up. And then once you clip it, you're going to go to your machine and you're going to do the same thing that you did on the other side. You are going to use your zipper foot and sew a 1/4 inch seam all the way across. After you have sewn your zipper to both sides, what we need to do now is unzip this zipper at least 3/4 of the way, otherwise you're going to make fast friends with your seam ripper. And then we are going to close up both sides of the front. We're going to bring the lining, and we're going to position it even with each other, and then we're going to start clipping all the way around. And what we're going to do is we're going to clip this together, and then we're going to sew all the way around, but we are going to leave a turning hole in the lining down here. So with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, you're going to sew all the way around, but leave a 2 to 3 inch. You want it pretty large just because the front is pretty stiff, so you don't want to rip your turning hole when we flip it, so you want to leave it pretty large. And so you're going to sew all the way around, making sure to go across the front zippers. Let me show you this front zipper a couple of times. And you want to make sure that when you're sewing, I don't know if you can see in there, there's the little zipper tab. We do not sew over the zipper tab, guys. You want to match these up and you want to sew right beside the zipper tab. And what I like to do is I like to put a clip right where it is, so that way I know, and when I get here I'll feel for it. And then same on the other side. I will clip this, and then when I get there and I start sewing, I can feel it while I'm sewing and make sure I go beside it, because you do not want to go through it, otherwise it won't lay right when we're finished. So go ahead and finish clipping your fanny pack and then go sew it. Once you have sewn all the way around your fanny pack, now is the time to cut off this excess zipper. Again, you want to use old scissors. You don't want to use your new ones. And then we are just going to cut at the seam. You don't want to cut it too short, and you don't want to, because you don't want it to pop out of the seam. So you want to make sure you do it even with the seam. And then you are ready to trim up all of the seams. And then once you've done that, you can start turning it right side out through the lining hole, the lining turning hole that you made while you were sewing. Once you have flipped your fanny pack right side out, all we need to do is press it really well, which I've already pressed. And if you feel like your zipper tabs are not popped all the way out, you can take your turning apparatus and pull them out a little bit more. Now there is supposed to be a hole. See how my chopstick went through? There is supposed to be a hole on either side where the tab is, because we did the seam right beside it, so we did not hit this. So that is perfectly normal, and it's because we want the zipper to sit flat on top of the fanny pack. So all that is left to do once you press it is pull out the lining, turn under the seam allowance of the turning hole, and then you're going to press that really well. And then we are going to pin or clip this, and then we're going to go to our sewing machine and sew that close. And you want to go over it a couple of times because you want to make sure that it'll hold as you're holding your stuff inside of your fanny pack. You don't want it to have stress and pop open. After you have sewn the turning hole closed, all you need to do is insert the lining into the bag, push it into the corners. Okay, make sure they're all the way down. Flatten that out. And then we are going to hit this with the iron again, because I am an over ironer. I like to press a lot. And once it is pressed, your fanny pack is complete, guys. Woohoo! All we need to do now is set this aside and go make the belt for it. To make the belt, you want to take your belting, and then you want to take one side of your buckle, and you want to make sure that that buckle is facing right side up, and you want to insert the belting into the first hole. And then you want to insert it into the next hole and pull it down like so. Okay, and then we are going to take this small piece, we're going to take our tri-glide, or in my case the strap adjuster, and you're going to put it through the first hole, the furthest hole from you, and then you're going to feed it into this next hole. Now if you're working with 3 holes, you want to put it into the middle hole. If you're only working with 2 holes for your tri-glide, you just want to put it obviously into the next hole. So we are going to pull this, and then we are going to fold this under. And I want to make it where that bump isn't hitting. So you want to fold it down and make sure that this isn't hitting where we are sewing, so that way it's not super thick there. And then we are going to, let me move this out of the way. There we go. That's better. We're going to clip this, and what we're going to do is we're going to take it to the machine, and we are going to sew several times back and forth across this seam right here. And you want to reinforce it by back stitching at the beginning and the end. Once you have sewn this piece down, you take your long side and make sure that it's not twisted, and you're going to insert it into the first hole of your glide, and then you're going to insert that into the next hole, and then you're going to pull it, and then see how mine is not twisted. That is exactly how it should be. And you want to pull it tight, and there you go. There's your first side done. Yay you. Now if you only want it adjustable on one side, then that's the only adjustable glide that you need to add, and on the other side you could just attach it to the clip. But I wanted this adjustable on both sides, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this and make sure I have it straight and not twisted. What we're going to do is take your other glide, and this is if you want adjustable on both sides, and you're going to go through the back of the glide, and then you're going to go through the front like so. I'm gonna make this bigger because in a minute it's gonna affect us. And then you're gonna go through the back of your other side of the buckle, and then the front. Okay, and then we're gonna pull this, and then we are going to go through the back again, the back of the glide, and then we are going to, let's see if I can get more. It's a little tricky. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to go through the middle section of the glide. I don't know if you can see that on the film or not. Okay, so now we have it like that. Now we are going to, I'm gonna try and open this up. You have to play with it, so that way we have enough space. Okay, there we go. And then we are going to do the same thing that we did earlier. We are going to fold under this piece, and then we are going to clip it. We're going to make sure, well, it needs a little bit more, I think. I don't want my glide to sit right on top of, when it folds down, I don't want it to sit right on top of this seam, because then it'll feel bulky. Okay, and I'm going to pin this down or clip it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to go over to the machine, and you can make this loop bigger, which you're probably going to have to. Just get your machine in there. Make this bigger. Okay, and then what we're going to do is very carefully, without sewing through this piece or this piece, we are going to sew this down, which I think I have mine crooked. Make sure it's straight. Don't do crooked. And then sew it down just like we did on the other side. Sew it down and back stitch as you go, and go over it several times. Once you have sewn that piece of your belting down, you just need to tighten it up and ensure that, you know, nothing got twisted while you were sewing. And then the last step is to add it to your super cute fanny pack. I love this pattern because if you wanted to make different colors and whatnot, like you can make your school colors, or you can make your favorite team colors. You just have to make the pouch. You don't have to worry about the belt. You just make one belt and you're good to go. Now, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like this video and subscribe to the It's So Current YouTube channel so you get alerts when I make new videos just like this. And be sure to visit me at my blog at itsocurrent.com, where we have several different patterns for crochet and sewing. So until next time, go make something amazing.